Good morning, Becky.
Good morning, Bonnie.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm glad to hear your voice.
I'm always happy to see your face. It's always good to see you cooking and making something wonderful. And I appreciate the fact that you do it for us.
Yep, thank you.
What are we doing today? What kind of fun stuff today? I see eggs, which are a favorite always.
Well, remember last week, if you watched last week, we talk about I wanted to cook through a magazine. Take recipes through a magazine, and I got my Martha Stewart magazine. And so today I'm a couple recipes out of here. Of course, I'm making this my own.
Of course you are.
The first thing we're going to do, and I ran out of time to actually bake one, so we're going to put it together and I'll put it in the oven, but it takes 30 minutes, so it probably won't be done on the show, but I will put a picture of what it looks like done I'll give it to you, Bonnie, and you can
send it to me, and then we can put it on the page and show everybody how wonderful it turned out.
Yeah. So the first thing I'm doing is a rhubarb custard tart.
Okay, now I don't even know if I like rhubarb.
I have never been a huge fan, but I've never really done much with it. So this is like a custard with rhubarb in it. So I think it should be good. The recipe called, you got your dough together, is to make it on a square pan. Well, you know me, I can't do anything right. So I put it in a round tart pan. So they're smaller tarts instead of the big square. So you could do either.
But those make it easier to share with other people if you wanted to give them away.
Yeah. I've actually got the square one done. I just don't have it baked off. So there's the square, but I don't have this baked off, so I can't use this right now. It's still cooling in the refrigerator. So I might get this one baked off, Bonnie, and maybe I'll send you a picture of this one and the rest we'll do on camera today.
Well, at least we get an idea of what the tart is going to look like.
Right. Okay, first thing I did this morning was I made my dough for my tart. Now, it was very involved, and I had to roll it out. That's why the second ones were round, because I didn't roll it right. But anyway.
So you had to pick a hard magazine like Martha Stewart, right?
I did.
Couldn't you pick an easier magazine?
I think next time I will. So anyway, if you want to make your own dough, it's 1.5 cups of flour. It's 2 teaspoons of sugar, and it's a teaspoon of salt, 10 tablespoons of cold butter cut up, and you put it in a food processor and you just pulse it. And when you do that, the butter will cut into the flour and sugar. It looks like little peas or little crumbs.
Okay.
And then to that, I added 4 tablespoons of ice cold water. I actually took a glass, put ice in it with water to make sure it was nice and cold. That helps all that come together. And then you just pulse your food processor until that comes into a ball.
Okay.
And then
that's very involved.
Yeah, I do believe if you want to make this, just go ahead and buy a pie crust, a regular pie crust.
Okay.
Won't be as sweet. The crust won't be as sweet. There's only 2 teaspoons of sugar in that. So you could sprinkle a little on the crust if you wanted. But I would buy a pie crust because it's basically pie crust. You could even do puff pastry, something like that. You could do that would probably be very good too in it. So you could use a store-bought.
So you could make it your own. You wouldn't have to do all Martha.
Right. It's the rhubarb that's the star.
Okay.
So I've got my dough all done. Like I say, I've got the one in the refrigerator. I've got 2 small ones. It was still warm. Let's see here. Here's the small one. So it's just in a tart pan.
Oh, that's cute. I like that round one better.
This has a removable bottom, so it'll come out real easy. So I've got my tarts. Once you put your dough in, you want to bake it a little bit so it sets. If you put it in raw, it'll become a little doughy in the bottom when you put your custard in. So I did bake it off. Okay, so I've got my dough done, and I've got a gnat. push him in there. No.
No, let's not do that.
So this is the filling. The filling, what I have in my filling, and this is going to be our custard. I have 1 cup of granulated white sugar. I have 1/3 of a cup of flour, just all-purpose flour. I have a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now to this, I'm going to add my wet ingredients. So I've got a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. So I'm going to add my heavy cream. And then I have 2 eggs. I'm going to sort of mix my eggs, beat my eggs up just a little before I put them in there, just so that they're incorporated.
So this is a custard you're making.
It is a custard. Now, most custard that I've ever made, you usually cook it on the stove before you put it in things. But this one didn't call to do that, or at least that's the way I read it.
Okay. Well, if Martha said so, I guess you have to go with that.
I guess. So let me sort of beat up my 2 eggs. So I have my heavy cream. I've got a 1/2 cup of heavy cream. I got 2 eggs. So let me put that in there.
Now, does somebody in your family like rhubarb?
Not that I'm aware of. Everybody is sort of like me. It's like, do I really like rhubarb?
Yeah,
But
I'm not sure if I do. I don't know that I've ever had it.
I like custard. So if the custard's good and the rhubarb has to go with it, that's fine with me.
But you can always, cover it up or something.
Now, Cooking Club, we made a rhubarb, some kind of little bars, I think, and it was really good one year. So I think I like it. I think I like it.
Do you have any idea what it even tastes like?
I think whatever you put it with, it's sort of not, it's, if you eat it raw, it's sort of bitter.
Okay.
But this is cooked, and I've got sugar and a sprinkle on top. So a teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, and this is my custard, okay?
Okay, I'm trusting you and Martha.
Okay, so I'm just going to stir this up. And it's just going to come into a custard. It's real pretty. It's yellow. It's gorgeous. It's those beautiful eggs and all that cream.
Well, that's got to be good. I mean,
it's got to be good. Okay, let me get it all together here. All incorporated. And then all you do with this is you pour it into your cool pie shell. I hope my pie shell is cooled enough, or I'll have scrambled eggs. And that's why you want to cool your pie crust, is because there's raw eggs in here, and if you don't, you're going to get scrambled eggs. So you want to make sure that your pie crust is pretty cool. So I'll check that.
Good point.
Yes, it's cool enough to put in. It's cool enough for me to touch. It's cool enough for me to put it in.
And you're not going to bake or cook the eggs.
No, the eggs actually cook when you put it in the oven.
Well, that's what I mean. The pie crust is cool enough. You're not going to cook your eggs.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Okay.
So I've got my crust. I've got my filling, which is very easy. And then I'm just going to pour this in here. Now, I've got 2 of these. So I have a feeling it's only going to take about half, but we will see here. It may take it all.
Now, do you have to leave room for it to rise or cook?
A little bit. I don't want it to, it'll rise because it has eggs, of course. And if it has eggs, it's going to rise.
So it'll poof a little bit.
It'll poof a little bit, and I don't want the poof fall over the place. So I'm just going to put in part of my custard just because I have another pie shell just like this.
Okay.
Okay. This is the custard. Now let me show you my rhubarb. Okay, my girlfriend had rhubarb in her garden, and she doesn't eat it either. Beautiful. It was beautiful rhubarb. It comes up with a really pretty curly leaf. And this is the stems. Here, I've got one I didn't cut up. This is the stems of the rhubarb.
Okay.
And then on this end, this great big leaf. Now the leaf, do not eat. It's poisonous.
Oh, yay. Yeah. Okay.
So don't be eating that leaf like a salad green, because it's not good for you. But the stems are fine. And especially, look, I'm not sure I would eat this raw. I would probably cook it no matter what I used it in. But anyway, what I've done is I cleaned my rhubarb, and they want you to cut it in 11-inch long pieces because I was going to put it in my long tart, but I'm not going to do that.
Gotcha.
So I'm going to cut it to fit into this tart, and I think I'm going to cut it, make like a star shape. And I washed my rhubarb, I trimmed it up, and then I cut little slits in it. And it's to do this because then the fiber, it's not so fibrous. It lets it cook through.
Oh, man.
So
I thought rhubarb was red for some reason.
That's what Amanda said. There is some red. Can you see that red?
Okay. For some reason, I thought it was red.
Yeah. Not clear red, and I'm sure there's different kinds of rhubarb. This is just from my girlfriend Kathy's garden.
Oh, so you're just going to put the pieces in there just whole, huh?
Yep. I'm trying to find a fun way to put it in there as decoration.
Now, is this what Martha did?
Martha put it in a long pan.
Okay, but I mean, she still cut her like slices and just, okay.
Yeah, let me show you here. Let me get this in. Let me get this set up a little bit shorter. And then I'll show you what I'm going to do with the long pan in case you'd want to do it.
I'm just trying to think about when you're eating this after it's cooked. Is that going to be, are you going to be able to like cut that or?
Yeah, it'll puff up like a custard. It'll puff up almost like a quiche. In a way. Okay. Here's what I've done. Can you see it? I just sort of put it in a little.
It looks like a little pinwheel thing.
Okay, so I've got that all done. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bake this, and I'm going to bake it. Actually, I'm going to sprinkle sugar on top, it calls. So I've got 1/4 of a cup of sugar. Now, I'm not going to put it all because I've got half of it. So I'm going to sprinkle sugar on top. And of course, that'll make a little sweet crust on top of sugar. And that'll sweeten your rhubarb too, because the rhubarb's a little tart, I think.
You're going to have to let me know how this turns out because I'm a little curious.
Okay, I'm going to put this in the oven for approximately 45 minutes. Now, because it's smaller, it may not take quite as long. So I'm going to pop this in the oven. So let me put it in the oven.
You just have to keep an eye on it then until.
Yeah, I'll probably set it for a half hour. Let me put it in here. I'll set it for a half hour. And then we'll see what happens. Now, let me show you what I would do if I was using this big square one. And I will finish this off, Connie, and I'll get your picture. But what Mom did was she laid these out like this across the big one.
Okay, well.
So when you get your custard, I'd lay it out like this all over and then bake it. And then you can cut it in little bars, little squares.
Oh, I see. I gotcha. Okay.
So I'll finish this one off and we can post the square one too.
Okay. Then we'll see what it looks like. Those just look like kind of like celery stalks.
Yeah.
Then that's kind of what I'm thinking is how you're going to cut a celery stalk. But I guess if they're kind of like bars, you can just pick them up and eat them.
Yep. Yeah. And they'll soften up. They won't stay hard, crisp like what you see here. They'll soften up.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people make jelly out of the rhubarb. And, you know, if you were interested, it's a good time of year because rhubarb right now is coming on. So make sure to put in rhubarb jelly, do it now.
I think I'll pass.
You might be surprised, Barney.
I may be totally surprised because you've made things before that I wasn't sure of and I liked them anyway.
Well, I'll have plenty, so I might have to drop you off a piece.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay. The next thing we did is I did the picture on the front of the magazine. Where's it at? You see that? All those vegetables. It's called Easy and Delicious Meals. And this one's actually called a skillet chicken with leeks and carrots. Isn't that gorgeous?
That's beautiful. Yes.
Now, take a look because you're going to look at mine here in just a minute. Okay.
Oh. Yeah, I want to see if it looks like Martha.
Oh,
Whoa.
What do
Oh,
you-
it looks almost exactly the same.
isn't that beautiful?
Good job, Martha.
Oh,
I knew you had it in you.
it smells so good. Now, let me tell you what I did. It really wasn't that hard, but I did find that the cooking time was a little longer and my chicken breasts were much thicker. So I think if I did this again, I would shrink down my chicken breast. I don't know if you can see that chicken breast, but look how
Yeah, it
big.
looks very thick.
Yeah.
Maybe like slice it through the center and, fillet it open or whatever.
Well, this is bone in. This
Oh, okay.
with the skin on. So the first thing I did was I took my cast iron skillet and I put 2 tablespoons of butter in my cast iron skillet with a tablespoon of olive oil. And I let that heat. I washed my chicken and I patted it dry. And then I salt and peppered the outside really well.
Right.
Now, I put it in my cast iron skillet when the butter was starting to foam. That means it's hot. Skin side down. So that's why I ended with this beautiful brown crust.
Oh, yeah. It looks gorgeous. That's what happened. So you browned it first to make it look that good?
Yeah.
Good deal.
So you let that brown. Now, I knew my breasts were really thick. When it was brown, how you know it's ready to take it out of that skillet is the skin it'll lift right out without peeling the skin off. So it did. And I actually flipped it over and cooked the other side a little bit too, because I knew they were thick chicken breasts.
Gotcha.
So I took that out of the pan, set them aside. Now they're not done yet. You have to put them in the oven to finish them off. And I put in 5 medium-sized carrots. I had peeled them and cut them on an angle. So I put my carrots in. Here's one of my carrots here. See the carrots?
Hey. Are they done?
Oh, they're perfect. Oh, that's good. So I put my carrots in. You've got a little bit of the oil and stuff left in the bottom. You go ahead and put your other 2 tablespoons of oil in.
Okay.
So carrots, but I put 5 carrots. It calls for 3 leeks. Now we've used leeks before.
Right.
And remember, they come long, stemmy things, and you have to cut the green part off.
They look like huge, like green onions, right?
Yeah, and there is sand in those. So what I did is you don't use that real green part. So I cut them in about inch sizes, 2-inch or so sizes. I soaked them in water so I could get the sand out of them.
Okay,
and then
got
I put them in here. So those are in here. But the package yesterday at the store only comes 2 to a package instead of 3. And the recipe called for 3. So I only put 2 in here. Now, if you don't have leeks, there's no problems with using just a couple big onions.
Okay.
1 big onion or a couple medium-sized onions would be fine in here.
Okay.
Boy, that carrot was good. And then it called for 2 cloves of garlic minced. It calls for a teaspoon of zested lemon.
Okay.
And then a weird thing, it calls for cubed Italian bread. So I got Italian bread in the bakery yesterday and I cut it up in cubes, and there's actually 2 cups of cubed bread in here. So I think it'll act like a crouton in there. So we'll see.
Oh, so you put all of that stuff in the bottom and then just put the chicken back on top of it?
Well, I let that cook for just a minute. You want to make sure all that bread and all those carrots and everything is combined and that oil is over it all.
Okay.
And then I put my chicken back on top, skin side up, and then I stuck it in the oven. And it's been in the oven, it's been in the oven at least 45 minutes or so because I couldn't get my chicken quite right. So my vegetables are probably a little more done than what it could be. So when your chicken's raw, it should register 160 degrees.
Okay.
You take it back out. You take your chicken out of your vegetables. You put a little lemon juice on it. You put some fresh mint. Now this is, I think I got peppermint on top of it, which is an interesting taste.
I was gonna say, I've not heard of that before,
Yeah.
but
And then I actually put some asparagus in there, making it my own again.
of course,
I had asparagus I needed to use up, and I thought, oh, put it in there.
you can always throw that in there. It's just an extra vegetable.
Yeah. So I stuck just the vegetables back in the oven and let them cook just a few more minutes. It was about 10 minutes. I took them out, I put the chicken back on, and voila.
It looks amazing. And I love chicken and it looks beautiful.
So let's go ahead and plate that up.
So you having that for lunch, are you?
I think so, because it's
So
just,
you think that the cooking would have been a lot easier had you had smaller chicken breasts then?
yes, I think if I would have had thinner chicken breast. I forgot to finish this off, and I can probably do it. Well, let me plate it and then I can finish it off. So let me go ahead and put my chicken on there. And I'm actually going to cut it open.
Yeah, I want to see what.
Look at that. Yeah.
Oh, that looks like you've done well. That's a good cooking job.
Let me put some vegetables on there. Oh, those were just yummy.
So you've got a lot of good vegetables on there now.
And bread, it's real crusty bread.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the bread.
And it's sort of caramelized in the bottom, a little bit burnt maybe, but I think more caramelized than burnt.
It's interesting that they added bread. I mean, I just would have thought it was like a chicken and vegetables kind of dish, but then
Now,
they threw bread in there.
Yep. On top of this, she said, put some more mint. So I'm going to put some more fresh mint on my vegetables. And then I'm going to squeeze a little bit of lemon juice over top of it all, the chicken and the vegetables. So it's going to give a nice, fresh taste. I think I've got lemon juice cut. Juice. So I'm going to put a little juice.
Wow. Well, that'll give it a little zest.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to put just a little more zest on there too, because I like lemon zest. And that'll freshen it up. Oh my.
That's a nice, it's got to smell good.
It does smell good. So here's my lunch.
Wow.
Look
That
at
is
that.
beautiful. That looks lovely. That's not even a lunch. You're going to sleep through the afternoon if you eat all that.
Oh.
Did the lemon juice and everything help with that?
It just woke it up, if that makes any sense.
It does make sense, actually. And the mint?
Oh, it's just so good. So good.
It looks good.
So
It
this
looks
is lunch.
good.
This is lunch today. Probably supper, lunch, probably on.
Thanks to Martha and her cooking book, her cooking magazine.
It's really not that hard. Give yourself a little time to bake it. It's perfect though. Absolutely perfect, Bonnie. That is so tasty.
It looks wonderful. And I feel like that sometimes people are intimidated by Martha Stewart's cooking because it is a little bit involved, but that didn't look too hard. I could probably handle that.
That bread that's in there did become like a crouton. So
It
it's really,
sucked up all the flavor.
oh, yeah.
That's
That's
wonderful. You'll have to let me know how the rhubarb turns out also, if it tastes good.
Let me peek in the oven. It's coming. It's coming.
Okay. You're gonna have to
Wow.
let me know because I'm still not sure about the rhubarb, but you're gonna have to let me know.
Okay.
It looks
Okay.
beautiful.
Okay. Well, today we're eating healthy. I have plenty of vegetables. I have chicken, my protein. The custard might be a little bit over the top, but still you can have just a little piece.
Yes.
It's fun when you use fresh produce, and that's what the rhubarb is right now. There's fresh produce out with it. Now I've seen all kinds of recipes. So get online, look up rhubarb, do something fun, something out of your
Okay.
comfort.
Yeah, something new, something different. And it looks healthy.
Independent, because I did it independently.
Yeah,
It's productive because I got it done.
because it was very productive. So you're being hip today. You
Being hip.
definitely are. And how appropriate that is on your birthday. Happy birthday today. Are we
Thank
allowed to
you.
say that? Today's your birthday?
Yes.
Yes?
No problem with that at all.
No? Well,
Just a
I'll make sure everybody wishes you a happy birthday this Wednesday, the 28th of April. Gosh, it is still April. I won't say how old, I won't
here.
say how old you are, but I'm just saying happy birthday.
I actually pushed the pause button from last year. So I'm actually doing the same thing I did last year, the same age as last year. So I've lost the year. So I'm just
Well,
gonna
that's kind of a good idea. So, because we can't really count last year anyway, so
Yeah.
just hang on to that extra year.
Yeah, I celebrated with my sister on Friday because her birthday was Sunday. So we had a bunch of cupcakes on last week when I celebrated with her. So the rhubarb custard's going to be my birthday celebration.
Okay, well, I hope you enjoy that. Put a candle on it or something.
Now next week, is it Cinco de Mayo?
Cinco de Mayo, May 5th.
Mayo.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're going to do some kind of Mexican. I seen some good Mexican things, so we're going to do something Mexican next week.
Okay, Cinco de Mayo. Let's do that. That'll be fun.
Okay.
All right. It's always good to see you. Thanks for cooking for us again. Thanks
You're
for taking on Martha.
Yeah, taking on Martha. I might
Alright.
do a few. So, bye-bye.
Okay. We'll see you next week. Thanks,
Bye.
Becky. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.